Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the daily update. My name is K Kim. I will be analyzing this market with you guys tonight. I hope you guys had a good day trading today. Our market is pretty much flat, as you can see, about negative 0.15% on the S&P. Pretty much across the board, it's a little less, a little more, slightly down day. We did see the Russell 2000 getting hit much harder today, about 2%, 2.3% down day on the Russell 2000. But then again, Russell 2000 made a huge move, I believe about 30% rally since the October lows. So had a great run on the small caps, not surprised to see a little bit of profit taking there. So pretty much, looking at the 65-minute chart here, we've been in this range this week, yesterday and today. We did see another gap up this morning, and that's something that we've anticipated from what we talked about on the last night's analysis. We talked about there might be that one last push from the buyers, and then we also talked about how the market is in that overbought level. Buyers are tired, so that's kind of what we saw here. We initially gapped up, I think about 0.4% or something like that. And then we came back down, filled the gap. This was second hour. We're trying to hold third hour. We came back down to the lows where we've been hanging around since the open on Monday, right? And pretty much all the remainder day, we just hung around here. You can see that all 3 hours, we just sat there and moved sideways all day long. And so here, as of today, with the data that is at hand, we do still have this gap open. This gap was open on Monday morning. So that's a good sign for the bulls. Bulls want to continue to protect this gap. It will be better for the buyers if they can keep this gap open, right? And kind of hang on until the oscillator resets. I obviously will look at the oscillator towards the end of this video, but it looks like there's a short-term rising pivot. Buyers want to kind of retest, right? That's a prior resistance there. And then we're potentially retesting this level as support, right? And that's the same level as we see that a short-term moving average is just underneath that level, right? We've been finding some support on that short-term moving average as well. So in the micro term, looking at just last couple of days, we're still neutral in the micro term. In the short term, we're in a bullish sentiment, right? With that rising pivot, rising short-term moving average, and then also talked about that higher highs here. So let's kind of zoom out and look at the midterm, what it looks like in the midterm of things. So you know what? Let's do short to midterm. We talked about midterm yesterday, so let's just kind of do this, right? Just looking at this month of December, right? Let's look at this as short to midterm sentiment here. So short to midterm, we've been actually pretty much been moving sideways. We do have subtle cultivations here. We got that higher highs, right? We got those subtle cultivations, and that's always a good sign. So I think overall in the short to midterm sense, midterm we are in an uptrend which I covered yesterday. Obviously long term we're on an uptrend which I covered on the weekend video. Short to midterm, we got subtle higher highs, but that's about it. But overall we've been moving sideways with this gap remaining. So if the buyers actually want to come out of this kind of this choppy sideways environment, I think the first thing is to keep that gap open. We may come down a little lower, maybe even come down to hit this wick here tomorrow or something like that. But as long as we can keep at least 50% or more of this gap open, and then kind of hang around until that oscillator reset to come back down here. You can see last time did the similar. We actually did see price pulling back with the oscillator. And then once the oscillator got into that oversold vicinity, the bottom of its band, we did see the price driving back up to the upside. Same thing happened here. Price moved up. So in the last two occasions, we did see price pulling back along with the oscillator, right? Because once the oscillator gets to the overbought level, what happens? Well, it needs to reset, right? And so that's kind of what happened today. We see a gap up and then fade and then continue to drip lower and then sideways. Why? Because bulls are tired. Because bulls push this up here, push this up here, push this up here, right? This time we're working with the up gap, pretty decent size up gap. So I think it's best for the buyers if they can keep this gap open and have this oscillator either prematurely cross back up and then make a run for it and break out of this short to mid-term choppy sideways environment. Or if this thing does come all the way back down to the bottom of the span, it's going to take maybe another day or two, remainder of this week, and they have to keep the gap open if they want to see any kind of strength to the upside. It's not the end of the world if the bears come and fill this gap, because once the gap gets filled, it's going to act as support. We saw something similar here. There was this up gap. That gap got filled. We overshot it a little bit, but next day it gapped right back up and we did see that rally. But nonetheless, in the last month or so, this December, we just been moving sideways. Best case scenario for the bears, however, you got the opportunity here. If you want to see lower prices, if we see bears gapping it down, turn this into an island top, right? That would be the best case scenario. That might be the only way bears can come back down to maybe 360s, retesting my short mid-term moving average. If not, if you want to just see this thing dripping lower, the gap area will provide support. And by the time the bears come bring it down, fill the gap, you will see this oscillator coming back down, hitting the oversold level. And you know what the bull's gonna do? They're just gonna bring it right back up, right? So best case scenario, bears gap it down, make that into a island top if you want to see 360s. If not, bulls want to protect this gap area, make sure the gap stays open, hang on until this oscillator resets back up, something like this here, crosses back up and find that strength again to push it up. So let's figure out how the market is playing out tomorrow, right? And we'll come back, we'll re-examine the situation. We go from there. My Traders Club promo will be ending here in 2 days at the end of this, actually Thursday, right? So Thursday, the New Year's Eve, the promo will be ending. So description below, you see the link there. You guys enjoy your evening and good luck trading tomorrow.